Life is short and pleasures few, and hold the ship and drowned the crew. But oh, how very blue the sea is. That is from Book 1 of Abarat, written by Clive Barker.
What the fuck is Abarat?
Yeah.
It's another one of his works, really.
So have you read quite a lot of his stuff already?
I've read none of his stuff.
No, me neither.
Absolutely none of it.
I think was it Dan said he's reading something at the moment?
He did.
Yeah.
Should I introduce the film that we got this week then?
Yes, and I just remembered about the spoiler timer, so we need to talk about that. Explain that as well.
Yes, so we have a half an hour spoiler timer. So in the first half an hour, we can talk about the film and its like synopsis, general themes, but things that are actually spoilers can only happen when the very abrupt half an hour spoiler timer happens. We have no idea when that's going to be. So we're just going to set it and look away.
Cool.
Right. I mean, I'm going to have my phone in front of me, so I'll probably know exactly when it's going to happen.
Just look away from it. Put it behind something.
All right.
Play the game. And then, as soon as that timer goes off, we all need to shout out a spoiler.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Christ. Okay.
He was dead all along.
It was coming from inside the house.
Fuck's sake.
That kind of works, actually. Anyway.
Both of them, sort of.
Spoiler.
So this is Hellraiser. Coming as an adaptation of the 1986 novella Hellbound Heart, Clive Barker's Hellraiser truly raised hairs among its release to its audience of 1987. The hour-and-a-half carnival of horrors, both visual and conceptual, paint a picture of an abject conflict, the conflict of love and lust, pleasure and pain, beauty and horror, greed and selflessness. Hellraiser was a fantastical horror flick, composed of enough mystery to keep the series going for several decades after its release. And as with most horror franchises, this would somewhat cause the series to go into a downward trajectory, with its presence still occasionally haunting the screens of the late 2010s. So with that, this week, I had these friends of mine watch the 1987 classic to see their views on it. Now, Joe, you've already seen it, and Ryan, it was your first time, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
That's correct, yes. I've only seen it once before, though.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe I hadn't already seen it before, to be fair. It feels like...
dying.
Oh. I thought it would have already started.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
Well, now it's going.
Okay, good. So, what were your general impressions of it?
Joe?
I remember one of the first things I was struck by after finishing it the first time was how little Pinhead was in it.
Yeah. He only gets...
Because he's such like a classic character that I was just a bit surprised that he was only in like a quarter of it, maybe. But I kind of like that.
Less than that. I think he only got like 5 minutes of screen time, really, overall.
Yeah.
It was, I felt the same as you, to be fair. Because I think, Sorry, go on.
And most of that was just slowly, silently shuffling about.
Saying low-pitched things.
Yeah. Because I think that when someone's on the screen for less time, it kind of makes their presence more pronounced, doesn't it? So, it made it more powerful, I think, when he did, but all of them showed up, really. But yeah, you think he's like going to be like a big kind of slasher monster like Freddy Krueger or Jason, like be in it all the time, but he isn't.
That is a big thing, I think, actually. Like, I noticed at the beginning of the film, they were kind of setting it up as a like classic monster, like 80s flick.
Yeah.
And then, nothing. Like you could see with the Cube, like they're based that off of, I believe, something called the Devil's Toy Box.
Okay.
Have either of you encountered that before?
No.
So, the Devil's Toy Box is a toy box, as the name suggests, but it's actually a small room where the walls, ceiling, and floor were composed of mirrors. And when someone enters it, they experience surreal revelations and experiences that basically like crowbars open their head and does a shit in it and shakes it. Just fucks them up all sides away. It's just like the cube in this film, really.
Is this a real thing?
The Devil's Toy Box. It's an urban myth.
Oh.
An urban legend.
Like creepypasta.
Yeah. But it...
Is it like how old... Is it like a...
It was one of the inspirations for the Lament configuration, which is the name of the cube that you don't find out in the film.
I was going to say that, does it have a name? Because for some reason it feels like it'd have a name like the Necronomicon's got a name and watch it. I don't know. I just thought I'd know the name, but
it's just called the cube, but it's called the Lament configuration. You
the
find
Lament
out
configuration.
Yeah. I'm just going appropriate name. Pardon?
Do you find that out in the sequel? Or is it just like lore?
I think you find it out in the sequel, yeah. Right. In one of the many sad sequels.
I don't think I've got the stomach to even attempt them. Like, I'm all right with just the first one, to be fair.
In terms of like gore and shit? Or just...
I think when a franchise has so many installments, I'm kind of turned off because I just know it's going to be like diluted quality. Like the Nightmare on Elm Street's got worse as they went on, and same sort of thing with everything else. But
I've never seen Nightmare on Elm Street.
Have you not seen the first one at least?
Mm-mm.
Han.
I've seen lots of bits, but never like seen it all the way through.
I've never seen it either. I know the cliff notes, like I know the themes and stuff.
I think I know most of my knowledge from the Simpsons episode where it's
Where's Willie?
Spoilers, dude.
Sure.
It's the spoilers half an hour.
What are you doing? Oops. Sorry.
But yeah, I think that this film is kind of like a change in the direction of cinema, because it came like at the end of the 80s, and you had Halloween in 1978, Friday the 13th in 1980. Yeah, it's old as shit, man.
No.
Friday 13th was 1980. Then Nightmare on Elm Street was 84.
84, yeah, well done.
You don't know, I'm reading from notes. And then, yeah, they all have like quite a classic kind of slasher vibe about them. But this film kind of, I found, took the end, what's the word? The end of the 80s, and saw it out with like a bit of a bang. So the 80s were, I'd say, God, I can't think of the word today.
Categorized.
Yeah, the 80s would be categorized as quite like a greedy and consumptive period.
Yeah.
In history. Because you had like the kickoff of like high octane like neoliberalism, like with the, if you want to go into the like the economic side of things. And then you had like the satanic scare as well that you always see in 80s things. And so you had like, you have these demons in the film, or travelers, or whatever they call themselves. They call themselves travelers, don't they? Travelers of the outer reaches of experience.
Yeah, they do. That rings a bell.
Angels to some, demons to others.
That's my favorite line.
I love it.
So creepy.
It's just got such mystery. But you have these characters, and also like Frank as well, who seems to be manipulating and just consuming those around him just for like greedy purposes.
Yeah.
And then you have like the cult angle of it as well. And
it's very layered. It's got a lot going on. I really enjoyed picking it apart. It was really nice to sit down and just make notes, watch a film, and like read a film again, because I haven't done that since college. So it was good fun.
Did you notice that Frank had a phoenix tattoo? on his
I did.
back.
I saw a tattoo. I didn't know. I couldn't quite make out what it was.
Yeah, I only caught that on the second viewing, but I was like, oh, risen from the ashes.
Oh yeah, that's. See, it's going to be a lot of that in this podcast. Like, oh my god, I didn't even say that.
There was a beautiful little thing that I found. Oh no, I can't say that until the spoiler hour.
Why was
Doesn't matter.
the room that Frank was staying in like burnt? I couldn't work that out. Was that because like he had candles?
It just looked scabby to me, like mouldy. I thought
It just looked dusty and old, yeah.
But I know, because when I was looking at like the door and around the door, and it definitely looks like burn marks. It can't be, or else the whole fucking house would have burnt down.
The whole house would have caught, yeah,
Because I was wondering it when he was messing around with the cube. He had like candles lit, so I was like, oh, because he obviously like bounced off. Was it just the candles like burning out? But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just like general.
Yeah, I never got the impression that it was burns, really.
I'm not sure. I have to watch it again now because I'm not sure.
So, what did you guys think of some of the hot shots in that house? Because it was actually filmed in a house, not on a set.
Was it in a British house? Because I know it's a British director, but it did feel very British in the camera use and the sort of environment. I think she was walking.
How so?
I don't know. There's a certain filter in it that was on just in the house and around the area sort of thing, which just reminded me of like Eurythmics music videos. but yeah, it's not really relevant. But it is set in London, isn't it? Because I know she walks along like the harbour, and I don't know if that's London or not, but
it's in America now.
Yeah,
is
it's
it though?
set in the US.
Yeah,
I think
because everyone in it is American apart from Julia.
Yes, Julia, archetypal evil English woman.
Yeah,
I was so off then. I don't know. It just felt really British to me. I think the director is probably coming through. Like
the only thing that told me it was America was that the majority of the people in it had American accents.
Yeah. I just remember feeling like it was really.
Well, you never see backgrounds. All the shots
house movers
are like really claustrophobic up against walls and shit. Like you never see like a scene or scenery, literally. Like you never see like landscapes.
It's just the bit where she's walking along the harbour and it's just the cranes. That's all.
The house movers are American, so I'd bet that it's set in the US.
I didn't really get the symbolism of the cranes.
Oh, I think I got that one.
Is it to do with like the hooks?
Just before that, they had quite a few shots that looked pretty deliberate of some of the more naive characters, such as the house movers and Larry, like framed in like doorways as if they were inside a box.
Huh.
Oh.
And she was walking under all these crane arches that were like her, like confines her box. And I guess a lot of the themes of, especially like the Cenobites themselves, are like unleashing and breaking free of things like taboos and stuff like that.
Cool. I didn't think of that at all with the doors. That's very astute.
Because I also got, well, it's pretty obvious that like, because Kirsty's mum died, and then there was that scene where she's like saying, "Oh, I've got a place," and the dad was saying like, "Oh no, you stay with us," and then he was like, "You don't need a job," and then she said something like, "I can do this on my own," or like, "You can trust me with this," or something to like suggest that she's very sort of like umbrellaed and what's the word? Just
coddled.
Yeah,
very sheltered.
Right. So the whole story is kind of like her. Oh, I wonder if there's some like shit in there of her like releasing or letting go of like her mum's death.
Oh, that's an interesting angle there, actually.
I really thought that. Because it's barely touched on. Apart from, I mean, it could just be they needed a reason for her to hate her stepmom.
Yeah, to be fair, I would hate her too.
Yeah, she was a bitch.
I loved her though. Like she was a gay man's dream.
Please explain.
Those shoulder pads were something else. No, she was just. I think she was a great character in a way, but I don't want to say she's kind of like a proper feminist character though, because she kind of does everything for a man.
Yeah.
And then, it doesn't pay off, but she's kind of a bit more progressive in how she walks through the world, I guess. And
that's something I was thinking about the first time I watched it, was how in this era of horror films, so many of them have really strong female leads.
Yeah.
And you didn't really see that in cinema at the time, or even like up until recently, where there was actually that really strong female leads that the film was based around, and they were the ones that sort of saved the day and all that. I found that interesting.
Yeah, I think especially in horror, where there's always the final girl sort of trope, where it's a woman that normally makes it to the end of the film, like Nancy in Nightmare on Elm Street. I was going to say Nightmare Before Christmas then.
Or like Friday the 13th, where the entire film is just one girl being chased.
Yeah.
And but even like Terminator.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Alien.
Yeah.
Halloween, you got Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis.
I wouldn't have said that Terminator had a strong female lead until Terminator 2, though. She kind of went through a bit of a transformation in that first film.
But she does survive the first one in a way.
Yeah. That first one is kind of like her forging, maybe.
How we got into Terminator?
80s films, man.
Yes.
Which was your favourite Cenobite?
Oh, it's got to be the fat one.
I don't want to say Pinhead, because that's how it feels a bit basic.
I love. Is he called Nibbler?
Chatterer, maybe.
Yeah, Chatter. I love him. He's fucking weird. I mean, to be fair, they're all pretty weird, but I don't know.
I like what are their names? They've got Pinhead, Butterball, Chatter.
The lady one.
Yeah, what's her name?
Vagina.
Well, I think. Actually, Pinhead, in the script and stuff, was only ever called the lead Cenobite or the priest.
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay.
And Clive Barker initially wasn't a huge fan of the name Pinhead because he thought it didn't do him justice.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. If I made that film and someone was like, we should call him Pinhead, I'd be like, fuck off.
It'd be like, I don't know, calling Chatterer Toothmouth.
To be fair, it would be like calling him Chatterer. I'd be like, that's awful.
Yeah. Chatterer's not too bad.
It's pretty bad.
He's not as bad as Pinhead.
Well, you got Butterball as well for the fat one, which is a good one, I think.
So what did you guys get of Frank in like the first few scenes?
He was just so fucking naive.
Frank?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, Frank's the brother.
Yeah, Frank's the brother who opens the cube at the beginning.
But I think he is naive in doing that, like in thinking that he can deal with what the cube has inside. Do you know what I mean?
It feels more like selfish than naive.
Yeah.
He's because it feels like arrogance, not naivety.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree. Yeah. I did find it kind of funny that they dressed him up as like the classic 80s criminal, always wearing black, has a chain.
Yeah.
He has like famous getaways that he gets mentioned about, like promiscuity, lives on a mattress.
Yeah, that room was rough. That was not good.
Yeah.
His this isn't really a spoiler, so I'm going to say it. But when he gets the box at the start, right at the start, his fingernails are vile.
Yeah, they're not great.
What's that about?
But did you notice that when he was playing with the cube, his fingernails were clean?
This is what I mean. So I was thinking, is it a different guy that picked up the box at the start and then delivered it to him? Because it looked like he was in a foreign country to me anyway. And then it jumped to him quickly, like in his house, wherever he was.
Could be that he's metaphorically digging through the dirt to find it.
Oh, see, yeah. Come on, Sam.
Yeah.
This is why I'm doing this podcast.
Well, he was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could have just been a setup to just say, like, this guy is just a fucking sleazeball.
So, I think I was talking about religious iconography.
My laptop ran out of battery.
Yeah, that happened. So, guys, there's a lot of statues in this film.
Yeah, there are.
And I don't know if you all... Yeah, did you not jump when she was hiding and the Jesus fell out of the cupboard? I jumped a mile.
I don't remember that.
It was towards the end when she's like hiding and being quiet. Don't want to... Is it spoiler zone yet? I don't know. Like the alarm kind of went off. But...
Oh, I was about to just do like a 2-minute.
Oh no, the alarm hasn't got... wait for the alarm.
I'm not going to do it now. It's going off.
Ah. Yeah,
right, well,
we've broken the illusion.
Spoilers.
Illusion's fucked, but spoilers about to go down.
Right, spoilers are here.
It's the spoiler zone, see? Get ready for some spoilers, you hear?
Larry dies.
Wow.
Did you notice though, when they move into the house, there's loads of like statues of like Mary and Jesus around the house. And they move them out of the house and they're in the front garden. And I was kind of like, it's like they're moving anything sort of like holy out and letting the evil in to the sort of house. That's what I read.
They pick up that little statue that Frank has and it's just a guy with his dick in a lady.
Well, this ties in with my sex and decay points because that statue was next to a cockroach. I looked into this shit. But it's kind of like, sex is always parallel to decay or something a bit grotesque. Like there's shots of when Julia is sort of reminiscing and fantasizing about when her and Frank were sleeping together in the past. They were fucking. It was kind of spliced with shots of her husband getting his hand cut with blood, and it was kind of like there's always one with the other sort of thing, which I thought was quite interesting.
The conflict between love and lust.
Yeah.
Greed, selflessness, beauty and horror, pleasure and pain.
She had a lot of love, I'll be honest.
She definitely did for him.
She did for him.
She loved Frank, and he used that to manipulate her.
Love for Frank, sure. I think that was mostly lust, wasn't it?
I don't know. I think I wouldn't have killed people for someone if I just wanted a quick fiddle. You know what I mean? Yeah, she must have had some...
She felt like she had more feelings than that. I loved the moment where Frank said, "It'll be like love, only real."
That is like a 80s tagline in for anything, really. Honestly. But again, it was like her and him together. It was never quite right, because I think that there's one scene where she's like sucking his finger, and it's like it's when he's not got all his skin on yet. And I'm like, this is grim.
They could even be the two sides of love, like the volatile, like violent love, and the steady, slow burning love. Like between Larry and Frank, really. Like Frank would be like that volatile, violent one, and Larry is like the safe, slow burning, long term love kind of thing.
But then he turns Larry into the other. By literally putting his skin on. Yeah,
he becomes... Yeah, he tries to hide within... Yeah.
How fucking annoying was that scene where Kirsty comes back to Larry after he's been, like, skinned and put on Frank, and there's literally, like, blood everywhere. And she's
around his face.
I'm so glad you're not hurt. Ignoring...
Apart from all the blood around your face.
Yeah, why is she not clocking that shit?
Yeah, baby. I'm fine.
And the fact that Red Skull fits perfectly into his brother's skin.
Yeah, that was a bit... It was creepy, though. It worked. Like,
I can look past it, yeah.
It did. I found it jarring, and it's probably just, like, whatever, but I felt like the skeletal form of Frank didn't look like Frank.
No, not at all.
It was too wide here, wasn't it?
Yeah, but was that just because he was wearing a mask and that literally adds mass to your face?
I think all of his audio was dubbed over by a different actor anyway.
Is it?
Really?
Yeah.
I think you have to kind of suspend your disbelief a little bit, and like,
Yeah.
I think you can, and not to a degree, can you? But I think Frank. Did anyone sort of feel like he was a bit creepy with his niece?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, hugely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there was previous there, like if he like abused her before, but he was kind of like, come to daddy, and was like, you're pretty and you're beautiful, and I was a bit like, oh, I don't like this.
That man has no limits, though, does he?
This is what
One of his defining characters.
Find the limits.
I love when after Kirsty had spoken to the Cenobites and had said, "I'll get Frank back for you," and they say, "Maybe." I think, and basically then it cuts to Julia and Frank. I think it's after Kirsty finds out that Larry was face cutty offied. I think that's the medical term. And then she
loved.
Oh, nice.
Oh no, it was before that. Julia says to Frank, she'll tell him everything. And Frank says, she'll tell Larry first. So you think that Julia's like referring to Larry, but that second line tells you that she's actually referring to the Cenobites.
Right.
It's like, ooh, little hidden bits of spice in that dialogue.
I don't understand. Tell me again. I'm confused.
I set it up really badly, but Julia, I think it's when they find out that the cube is missing and that she got it.
Right.
That Kirsty has the cube, and
Right.
Julia panics and she says, she'll tell him everything. And you think they're talking about Larry, and then Frank says, she'll tell Larry first.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, that's cool.
Creep factor.
I love
also,
like the depiction of is it hell? Are they from hell?
I think it's kind of like a hellish realm.
In
I
my
don't know
head,
if
it's like somewhere in between. I don't know.
it's too cold. Well, I get a cold feeling anyway. It's like blue and icy. It's not like hell.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to, you know.
I love the depiction of, which you see a lot more in the second film, but the depiction of like the endless labyrinth.
to quote you don't see any of that in this film, do you?
You do. When she goes through the wall of the hospital,
Oh, a little bit,
yeah.
you just see like the really long.
Yeah.
But there's like a shot where she looks back and it just goes on forever. I love that.
To quote another film, hell is only a word, the reality is much worse.
Nice.
Like, I whether you call it hell or not, I think is just semantics. Really.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering if I guess I meant, did they refer to it as anything? The Cenobites themselves.
They don't refer to it as anything.
Did they say like a distant realm or something, Sam? What was that quote you said?
Yeah, they say that they are distant travelers from the outer reaches of experience.
Okay.
I think so. They're like angels to some, demons to others, and I just love that like mysterious part of it. Like, are they these like they're extra dimensional entities, basically? Like,
Yeah.
or are they just extra dimensional aliens? Like, but what's the difference? Does it matter? Like, does it matter? You're still going to get tortured to death.
I know, Christ.
Do they serve something?
Never stated.
Right.
Well, I got one question actually. When he escapes through the floor again, because his brother spilled his blood on the floor, and he comes back and he's like, "I escaped."
Yeah.
The Cenobites. He has the box in his hand, but I thought that when they first took him away at the start, Pinhead picked it up and then disappeared.
Well, he must have the way he got back must have been by finding the box somehow.
Might have been, yeah.
Okay.
I would
Yeah, I was just wondering what that was about.
Or
But
through
the,
some power of the box.
Did you got like this? Probably you might not know this, but the guy who played Larry was in Child's Play 3. That is niche, but I recognised him. I was like, "Who is this?" And he was the barber in the army. Anyway,
The homeless guy eating the crickets.
Oh yeah, let's talk about him.
that
I
whole
thought
pet shop bit.
I kind of didn't like the homeless guy angle. I thought it was completely unnecessary.
He's like the guardian of the box, isn't he?
It was just nothing. Creepy homeless guy with piercing eyes. Suddenly he turns into like a skeletal pterodactyl and flies off. It's like, what?
The crickets represent anything?
I think it's just that he's not all there. I don't know.
Not entirely human?
The crickets are symbols of luck, protection, patience, and contemplation.
Oh.
Protection?
Yeah, if he's the protective kind of guardian.
Maybe just looking into it.
Yeah, it didn't give me many vibes at all, apart from, ooh, creepy homeless man.
But why was he as like the deliverer of the box? Why was he stalking Kirsty?
I think he was keeping an eye on the family, potentially, because he knew that they had it in their possession and was making sure just what was going on with it. But I don't know 100%. Was that cat?
And it's the idea that maybe he is a Cenobite, and like the weird bony thing is his form.
Yeah.
And he's like an agent from the Cenobites that permanently lives on Earth to move the cube around. I don't know.
Yeah, to get as many people, to collect as many souls as possible, isn't it? It's like doing the devil's work, I guess. But the weird creature running down the hallway.
Oh, the bee thing.
What the?
The weird bee.
It was great.
Yeah, just another Cenobiticium.
It was more beastly than the other Cenobites, really.
Sorry, go on, Jeff.
He's in the second film, right?
Spoilers. We're not there yet. Maybe we'll get there.
I'm not watching the second one again.
I've heard the second one's all right, though.
It's not great.
I prefer the second one.
Oh, I don't.
I think it's better than the first.
I don't know. I was kind of distracted when I was watching it, so maybe it's not the best.
The second one is mad ting.
Sam, actual question. Why did you pick this film? Was there a particular reason, or?
Well, I know that Joe really liked it, and it spoke to him quite a bit when he watched it and stuff. And I knew that you hadn't seen it.
Okay.
So I just thought, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I think the thing that surprised me most about it was its brutality.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know. Is S&M like quite a new thing in the 80s? And a lot of people were anxious about it.
Yeah, it was still a very much like unspoken of thing.
I think a lot of horror talks about explores anxieties we all have, but especially with sex and things like that. Horror is a big thing for sex. And I don't know if it portrays S&M as quite negative, and if you practice in it as Frank does, you were going to end up in a bad sort of situation. So I don't know. I thought it was a bit of a weird way to portray S&M stuff.
Barker was speaking in 1997 actually, and said something really interesting about this kind of thing, which is that so the quote is, acts that offer a glimpse of transcendence to one group are condemned by another. We are pressured from every side, by peers, by a church, by a state, to accept the consensual definition of taboo. Though so often, what excites our imaginations most is the violation of taboo.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think horror is all about pushing, like, the bruises of people's... Well, that's not the right phrase, but just, like, playing with people's anxieties and things like that.
It's always makes sense. Just in front or just behind people's like tastes.
Yeah,
really. So it's just a little bit outside of the box.
I find that's also changed recently with so much sort of mainstream horror, if you want to call it, where it does what you expect it to do.
Yeah, there's not much. There's some obviously films which are original and try and do new things with it, and sort of push the boundaries a little bit. Like I Get Out, especially, comes to mind.
Ari Aster just
And all Ari Aster stuff. Like, let's be honest. But yeah, I know what you mean. Is he dead?
No, he's not.
Oh my god!
You heard that his new film is going to be like essentially a horror comedy and about 4.5 hours long.
Holy shit!
I don't know if I can go to cinema for that. I need a slash after 2. Like, I can't.
Need a slasher after 2.
Oh, hey!
What a Top Glaties joke.
I love it. I did like at the start actually how the man was like, "It always was your box."
Oh yeah,
that was good.
I felt I don't know. I felt like that was a little bit schlocky, where it's like the box
It's
is
like The
mine
Shining,
now.
isn't it?
It always was.
Yeah, it's like
Kind of. Come on.
essentially. It's like The Shining, where it's like, you were always the caretaker. Don't know, spoil anything. But
You've been here forever.
yeah, it was very that. But I like that kind of thing. I love shit like that. I'm trying to look at my notes and see if there's anything else that I really wanted to push on.
I'm just going to dive in. Which stage of Frank's regeneration did you find the creepiest?
First one.
Red face.
I'll tell you which distressed me the most was when he started wearing a white shirt and he was getting blood all over it.
That's
I was
what I
like,
mean.
mate, you're just getting that dirty and it's making me uncomfortable.
That's the one I felt with the same.
Really? Red
just
Skull?
because of the fucking liquid all over the shirt. I was like, why don't you just wait a bit until you're not bleeding everything?
Love it.
There was a beautiful shot that kind of creeped me out a bit when the first guy had been killed, like just fucking hammered in his head.
Yeah, that was a moment I liked. Go ahead.
He's on the floor, and then Julia basically like looks away and is like facing kind of towards the way that the camera is like coming from, and the camera just over her shoulder as the door closes can see like Frank like dragging himself along the floor towards the first corpse. Oh,
Grim.
That first one was the creepiest, I think, of his.
He
And
deserved
also,
it though.
The entire like reconstruction scene was so well done.
This is what I mean when I said the effects were hit and miss. Like with the electric in the box, there was a bit like never-ending story. But this, the skeleton coming back to life and all that kind of regeneration stuff was really strong. I felt.
Yeah,
I liked that. Did you think that Kirsty? This is. I don't know, I'm probably wrong, but do you think she's psychic or has some kind of psychic leaning? Because she had a dream that her dad was dying, or I remember she was dreaming he was under the white, and then it was him underneath, and then it happened.
God, yeah, that weird dream.
I want to talk about that. Like, what the fuck is going on? Why are there feathers everywhere? For one, why is he under a sheep?
I know. I don't know. To be fair, I think it's like not attacking religion so much, but kind of like something that's meant to be quite sacred, like a kind of funeral, or kind of like a sort of someone under being buried, whatever, and then it just sort of like becomes more corrupt and dark when it starts just to bleed. And
well, I guess it's symbolizing Frank coming back, right? Because he bleeds. Well, first of all, he bleeds on white shirts, so.
We know that he's got that in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. But Larry looks dead under the sheet and then like becomes alive, right? Does he like sit up or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's definitely her dad under the sheet. I remember.
Starts bleeding and it comes through and then he sits up, right?
And she screams and.
Yeah, I don't know. I always just kind of see that shit as storytelling.
Yeah, fair enough.
Shit.
Did you think that? How she suddenly was able to control the box was a little bit I don't know, I wouldn't be able to suss that box out. Let's just say that.
I've kind of always liked the idea that the box somehow kind of tells you subliminally how to solve it. Like it wants to be found, it wants to be tampered with, kind of like its own entity.
There was a beautiful moment that kind of showed how like smart she was earlier in the film as well. So when she was taken into the hospital, She gets up. She's told to get back into bed, and then they leave the room, and basically she goes to the door and really wants to get out. I think this is after she opens the box and things start going weird. You see her like go up to the hospital room door, and she sees that it's locked. Now, what would any other character do in that situation?
Bang on it, say, let me out.
Bang on it, say, let me out. But she didn't want them to know that she was being rowdy in there. She realized that it would just gain unwanted attention, and I think that was like a really subtle way of showing that she really had some wits about her.
Yeah.
I think I think she'd have more wits. If she did have more wits, even, I think she'd have been a better customer service attendant in that pet shop. Because
I think she had other things to worry about, such as her uncle bleeding on white shirts like a monster.
But there was the woman in that pet shop made me laugh. She said, "Where's the manager?"
Hey, the 80s had their Karens too.
Oh, she was the best. I loved her. She was so funny. But the pet shop scene was a bit redundant for me. I think it was just a reason to have the monkey kind of scream and like cut to it, and then I was like, oh, okay.
and it was. Oh, I think the real point of that pet shop scene was just more of the homeless man who wasn't needed.
I do think
I don't know. It was kind of world building for me. It gave you like, if the whole, because everything else was just in the house, the whole film, right? Apart from the scenes of Kirsty walking places and in the pet shop.
You got a few scenes of Julia in the bar trying to seduce men.
Oh, yeah, she's the daughter is in the underpass with that bloke. And it's really like decayed, kind of crusty underpass, but they're sharing a tender moment. So I
kind of don't mind it if the purpose was just for like a breather. I didn't mind. It's like a palate cleanser, I guess.
I didn't mind it.
Its purpose was for me. But I imagine it probably was to somehow include the homeless guy.
I did have one other thing to mention, tied in with sort of religious stuff. Frank kind of is crucified at the end.
And
then he says, Jesus wept, and he kind of says it with a bit of pleasure. And I'm like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I never understood the point of that line.
I think
he did always say it was like pleasure and pain indivisible.
Almost like Jesus wept, as if he knows that he's probably being looked at with pity, I guess, maybe by some higher power for what he's doing and how corrupt he is. And I don't know, but he seems to be happy about it.
Yeah, he was like enjoying it, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I think he's into that kind of shit, though, isn't he? He's a bit of a freak. Yeah.
Well, all right. To round things off, out of 2 Chuckle Brothers, how many do you give it?
I think for a complete uniqueness, I'd give it a 2.
2 Chuckle Brothers out of 2 Chuckle Brothers.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know if you're.
That's Barry and Paul. That's a perfect score.
Well, it's not a perfect film, and it's probably not my favourite horror ever, but I think for doing something different with the genre and surprising me, I think I'll give it 2, because
2 out of 2 Chuckle Brothers. Fantastic. Yeah. Joe?
I mean, I'm not a fan of the scoring system, I'll be honest.
2 out of 2 Chuckle... You got to go out of 2 Chuckle Brothers. It's my film, my scoring system. When you pick a film, you can pick a scoring system.
Fuck's sake.
I think I'd give it 2. It's certainly my favourite horror of that decade.
2 out of 2 Chuckle Brothers again?
I've seen, yeah. It was the only one that actually creeped me out.
The Shining was 1980, though.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, it's my favourite film, man.
Different kind of horror.
I've not read the book yet. I need to read the book.
Yeah. After reading the book, I was like, I understand why Stephen King hates the film.
Yeah, but I think Kubrick kind of did his own thing with it, and it's different to the book. But yeah.
I preferred what the book did than what the film did.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah,
okay.
The book is fantastic and very different.
I I'd give the film 1.5 Chuckle Brothers, I think.
I didn't know we could do half.
I was going to
Yeah,
say
you can
that,
do
Sam.
half Chuckle Brothers.
Oh,
one and a half
yeah, I'd
from
probably
me,
give
then.
it 1.5. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. All right, let's start again then. Ryan, how many Chuckle Brothers out of 2?
1.5.
1.5 Chuckle Brothers. That's a very good score.
Cheers, thanks.
Joe, how many Chuckle Brothers out of 2?
I think after much consideration, I'd have to go with 1.5.
1.5 Chuckle Brothers. Right. Well, consideration and revelations.
It's to me,
But you cut out then, Joe. Sorry, what was that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. That was the joke. I said it's to me too.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh my God! I walked straight into it. Fair play. Isn't one of them dead now? Or is both of them dead now?
One.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Smaller of the two.
Oh,
Barry.
Barry.
I didn't know him by name. Like, fair play to you.
Hmm.
Where are they from? They're from up your way, aren't they?
Good Yorkshire lads,
Yeah,
weren't they?
Northerners.
No, he's not northern. He's Midlands.
Don't even
Midlands.
start this.
At this
know.
point, I just say it because it annoys him.
I got that wrong the other day. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Anything north of the M2 is north.
You wait until we get out of this quarantine.
Oh, fists are flying.
What does that mean?
Fists are doing something.
Oh.
Anyway.
Right. So
that-
next.
That was Hellraiser. Who's
Yeah.
choosing next?
I believe it's
Me.
Ryan. Do you know
And I
what
don't-
you're choosing?
Oh, I'm torn between two. And do you want me to say them or I keep it quiet till next week?
Keep it quiet.
Yeah.
So are we doing this next week or the week after? What are we doing?
Are we going to discuss that whilst we're recording?
Yeah, maybe not.
Probably just cut
No.
this bit out.
No, for the audience, all three of them, we thinking we'll at least start every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
So every other week we're going to rotate. We're going to pick a film, book, TV, show, anything like that, and just discuss it and see what kind of stuff we can come up with.
Yeah.
Yay! Cool.
So thank you for listening, everybody. This has been the Something Art Show, and yeah.
Bye.
See you later, boys and girls.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye, Mom. Jeez.